Hey, if this fits you, don't sit there looking. Jump over here, we'll start things cooking. The night's still young and there's plenty of time to demonstrate the powers of a honky-tonk mind.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another Rockabilly guitar lesson, and today I want to show you how to play the intro and the second solo from The Woman I Need by Johnny Horton, which was released in 1957 on Columbia Records, and it features the great Grady Martin on lead guitar. When you heard the jam track I was playing to in the intro, you probably noticed that there was somebody singing, and it wasn't me. It was the voice of no other than Sean Young, singer of the legendary High Noon Trio, and he also got his own bands, Sean Young and the Blue Dots and Sean Young and the Three Ringers, maybe some other bands as well. He's also recording a whole new album right now in his basement, and I'm very excited and looking forward to hear this one. In my efforts to improve my lessons more and more, I've decided to produce a whole jam track for this lesson here. So I was in need of a singer, reached out to Sean, and he agreed. So I'm very proud that he played on, that he was singing on the jam track. We also have another guest musician featured here on the jam track. On the upright bass, we have Pascal from Switzerland, who plays upright bass, obviously, but also lead guitar and drums. He's a great drummer as well. So if you're ever in need of a musician who can play on your recordings, or if you're touring Switzerland and your guitar player misses the bus or whatever, you can write him an email and he's happy to come to the rescue. I put both contact information for Sean and Pascal in the description below, and then you can write him a message and reach out to them if you're in need of a musician. And Pascal is even doing my office work right now, so talking about desperate musicians here in this situation right now. As I mentioned before, I want to show you the intro and the second solo right here on YouTube. If you want to learn the whole song from start to finish, have access to the jam tracks and the tabs, then you can support me on Patreon, or you can also go to my shop at shop.randyrich.de and purchase the lesson there. I put both links in the description as well. And I put out a practice video a couple of days ago, and some of you may have seen me struggle with the ending of the second solo. And it was good that I released the practice video, because then Horton reached out to me on Facebook and wrote in a comment, Randy, you know that there is an easier way to play the ending, and yes, there is. If you have a Bigsby, why not use it? So I had to redo the ending here for this lesson, and now I have included both versions. If you have a Bigsby on your guitar, you can use it. If you don't, then I present to you this Randy workaround with detuning the guitar to from E to D and back to E, and you'll see it at the end of the lesson. So enough talk, let's get right to it. Here is the intro and the second solo of The Woman I Need by Johnny Horton. Honky Tonk Minor, The Woman I Need by Johnny Horton, is in the key of G, and it starts like this. So we start with a 6-9 chord here on the 15th fret. I have my ring finger on the top two strings, G and D, the root note and the 5th of the chord, and then the index takes the D and G string, where we have E, the 6, and then A, the 9th of the chord. We approach this chord from a half step below, like this, yeah? And the same on the 9th to the 10th fret, 6 to 7, and then for G we just play the top two strings here on the 3rd fret, G and D, and then the bass run starts on the 5th fret, and again a quick little slide here, then the 3rd, 2nd, open, and then the G here on the low E string, 3rd fret. One more time, the whole intro. Now let me show you the second solo, which starts like this. So you start with an open D string twice, and then you play the second fret, stay there for a quarter note, and then you slide to the fifth of the D string. Yeah? And then you finish the first bar with an open G string. Then you play slide, open G string, slide, open G string, slide. And the slide is always from the second to the fifth fret, but it's faster than the first one that we just did in the first bar. Yeah? So you play, and with the last slide you slide back off again. Yeah? Like this. Let me repeat the first two bars and also the first note of this third bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then the next phrase. Again, you go back and forth between the slide and the open G string, but you start with a D string twice, and then the slide, and again I included the first note of the fifth bar of the second solo. So what we got so far is this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And the next phrase. Starts on the D string with a hammer-on open to the second fret, open G string, and then the third fret 5 times. Open, third, open, and third. This whole phrase. And by the way, that starts on one end. Yeah, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And I always give a little bending here on the third fret, especially on the quarter notes. Like this. And then the next part. Starts on the G string, and you play open, third fret, second, open again, second, open, and then the second fret on the D string. So it sounds like this. And then the next bar, again, back and forth between the open G string and the slide on the D string. This time the other way around, you start with the open G string. And I will repeat the last phrase. The next part. Starts on the open D string, you play it 3 times, starting on one end. And then you do the slide again from the second to the fifth, but you want to stay an eighth note here on the second fret. Like this. And I think these subtle differences make it interesting. Yeah, it's you could play it always the same, but then of course it would be more boring. So Grady always changes it up a little bit. Open D string, slide and open G string, and then again back and forth between the slide and the open G string. Like this. Next part. Starting on the open G string, then to D, second fret, 3 times open G string, second to D string. And then again the slides. And then the run. Starting on the low E string. 3rd fret, then to the 2nd A string. 3rd, 5th. Now let me repeat everything we get so far before we get to the last part. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Now for the ending of the solo I have 2 options for you, 2 solutions. The first one, pretty easy, very obvious, so obvious that it didn't even cross my mind until Hawker mentioned it to me on Facebook. So thank you very much. That's the way it is sometimes. It only works though if you have a Bigsby. Yeah? And then the second solution takes much more practice, tell you that. But it's a workaround if you don't have a Bigsby on your guitar. So start with the easy one here. It sounds like this. So you play the open E string, and you put the Bigsby down, so you tune it to D, release it, then you hammer on the 3rd fret, hammer on the 5th, then you pick the 3rd, and back to the 5th for the bending, bring it back up, and then 3rd fret again on the low E string. And then you go right into the bridge with a pickup, like this. Now, the second solution, you detune the string here on your mechanic, on the headstock. Yeah? So you play the E, and then you turn it to D and bring it back up. Huh? That's 2. Yeah. And then you have to be quick to do the rest here. Yeah? And the rest is the same. So you can decide, and whatever guitar you have. If you have a Bigsby, I would recommend the first one. If you don't, well, then you're stuck with a second solution, which works, but takes a lot. And here's the whole second solo played for you at 100 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.